As most of you know, Universal Pictures has been gearing up to launch a shared cinematic universe with their classic monsters roster. Today, that universe got a huge step forward, as Variety is reporting that Tom Cruise has signed on to star in the first movie, The Mummy. The Mummy will be directed by Alex Kurtzman, based on a script from Jon Spaihts, the writer of Prometheus. The Mummy reboot is set for release on March 24, 2017, with another Untitled Universal Monsters movie set to follow it on March 30th, 2018. John, is the addition of Tom Cruise a good move for the new Universal Monsters cinematic universe?
I'm stunned. Absolutely stunned. This is the movie equivalent of when I woke up one morning to hear that the Edmonton Oilers had traded Wayne Gretzky to the Los Angeles Kings. Like what? What? Look, we've been looking at this Universal Monsters franchise. Now, granted, we haven't known a lot. Kurtzman was involved and all that kind of stuff, and I like Kurtzman, but to me, it has felt, and we might have just talked about this the other day, this whole Universal Monsters thing seems a little bit of folly. It doesn't seem like it's going to do much. They didn't help the cause much with that terrible Dracula movie they just had out last year.
Or The Wolfman.
Or The Wolfman that came along before that. And so we've been looking at this saying, okay, this would be a nice little thing they're doing. It's not going to make any waves. It's not going to be a real thing. I mean, just let them do it. Tom Cruise, who is at the height of his career right now, signs up for it. And this is one of those absolute instant perception changes. Mm-hmm. Now, we're all looking at this Universal Monsters cinematic universe saying totally differently than we did yesterday. Now, suddenly we're looking at it and we're like, oh, Universal is dead serious about this. And clearly they've got something there if Tom Cruise, who right now can do not only anything he wants, he can make anything he wants. He doesn't have to just go join whatever movie he wants to join. He can come up with his producer buddies and all that kind of stuff and Christopher McQuarrie and just say, hey, we want to do this movie about shoes. And they would do a movie about shoes. And they can do it. And people would back it. And he's choosing to do The Mummy. I don't know if this movie is going to be good or bad or whatever. All I know is that my perception of this thing has now completely done a 180. Christian, you heard this news. Your reaction to Tom Cruise joining the Universals thing?
It reminded me of when Shaquille O'Neal went to the Heat.
Yeah,
it did. It was because you look at that and you say, wait, like what you just said. I liked the first Mummy movie. And then after the rest, I was like, And then they're announcing the reboot, and that they were doing, this shared universe, and they tried to do it with the Dracula movie, and then they're kind of discarding that because it was such a stinker. And you're like, well, who cares? And then you get Tom Cruise, and you're like, well, wait a minute, because Tom Cruise, and we've said this when we were talking about the Mission Impossible movies, he commits to everything he does. Whatever movie he's going to do, he's going to put every bit of effort into it because he knows what the fans want, or at least gives them what he thinks that they want. And this, to me, I'm excited about it now. I'm curious to what a version of The Mummy with Tom Cruise looks like. I'm excited now that there's a version with Tom Cruise that this shared universe happens. Like, okay, wait a minute, I just really liked what they did there with The Mummy. Now, how's that going to spin into something else? Because Tom Cruise he's a star, because it makes sense. If you're trying to do this, you're trying to reboot this Mummy franchise and catapult a shared universe out of it. Smart executives and smart creative people are going to, okay, well, we need star power. But we need star power with somebody that knows how to produce stuff, who knows how to make stuff, who can create an impact. And somebody goes, how about Tom Cruise? We're not going to get Tom Cruise. And then you get Tom Cruise. Now your franchise is shaping up to be something special.
Yeah. Well, I can't do a sports analogy. Captain Crunch, but it's all Crunch Berries. What about, it's an all Crunch Berries episode. Tom Cruise is the Crunch Berries. I was stunned, but you know what? It instantly made me rethink The Mummy. Because they cast Tom Cruise, I wasn't excited about, Universal's going to try to drag out all the movies that I love, the original ones, and they keep trying to redo them. But then the minute they added Tom Cruise, my entire brain sphere just flipped, and I was like, what if it's all set now? It's not like some 1930s mummy.
I think
it's
that
all
is.
Set
I think
now.
it's supposed to be modern
what
day.
If it's like
cool.
It's not like the Brendan Fraser mummies with the little baby mummies and stuff like that. But if they add this other, remember they had the dumb baby mummies.
Yeah.
They're all chasing and
Bummies.
stuff. Yeah, but whatever they're called. I hated it. But they could add this other element to it, where like bandages are alive or what. I mean, they could add something that we haven't seen yet, and that's the kind of I started thinking about. Like, wow, if they updated the Mummy and if they're updating all of their Universal creatures and monsters to be in the world now. Let's forget about Dracula Untold, like best left untold, you know? Like, oh boy. And then they like threw that dude in the future, like, yeah, I'm still walking around with this weird pendant. Anyway, hopefully they just forget about all that stuff, start fresh. You have Tom Cruise. I think that's a great starting off point. So I'm looking forward to it. All of a sudden, I'm looking forward to it.
You know, there was at one point Tom Cruise was supposed to be involved in the Universal Monsters universe. At one point, he had considered playing Van Helsing. I believe it was the one that Hugh Jackman.
Good pass.
Good pass.
Yeah.
That's one of those ones you sit back and go, whew.
What happened to Stephen Sommers, by the way? He's even nowhere to be seen.
Stephen Sommers, director Stephen Sommers, by the way, who did The Mummy and stuff like that. He fell out of favor with me as a fan and a few other people. He did G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
And I remember very distinctly after G.I. Joe came out, and the critics hated it, and I hated it. Actually, let me step back from that. It was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. The first G.I. Joe movie was not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it was still not a good movie. Anyway, Summers comes out, I remember, and went on this big diatribe about, critics just don't like popular movies. I'm like, really? Lord of the Rings, 96%, Avengers this, Batman got this rating. Really? It seems to me critics really do like fan favorite movies. But he just whined and complained, and then he kind of dropped off. He was then lined up to do another big project that I think fell through, and we just haven't heard from him
Flash
since.
Gordon, I think, at one point?
That sounds right. I'm not sure, but that sounds right.
You know why I think it was? Because I'm not a Stephen Sommers fan at all, and I'm a big Flash Gordon fan. And I remember being upset that I heard that, and I think it went away. And then Matthew Vaughn's rumored, somebody do Flash Gordon soon, please.
Right? Hey, maybe they can bring Stephen Sommers back to direct this new Mummy, right, guys?
No, Alex Kurtzman. Alex Kurtzman is directing this new Mummy.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, click here to watch the entire episode. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because it'll help you stay up to date with all the stuff we've got going on here at Collider.